Hi cozy friends, how are you? I wanted to do a video recommending games that were really good for a mental health rut. As somebody who has been through many different stages of mental health in my life, you know, very good, pretty bad, it's always gonna be a roller coaster, and that's okay. For me though, games have always been a really great way to regulate both stress or just hard times in life and be able to find either kind of a story that I connect with or be able to provide a kind of distraction for a little bit when I need it, and then I could deal with the issues that I have in my life a little bit later on. So I'm splitting this video into 3 different categories. The first is games that deal with mental health in some way in the storyline, or just have a storyline that I think is very hopeful and helpful to connect with when you're in a mental health rut. The next category is games that deal with responsibility and community. So something that like maybe you should do that you aren't doing because you're not feeling so great, or just a sense of community, even if that's virtual, and responsibility to that community that allows you to kind of show up for something or some community every day and allows you to find a sense of purpose if you're having a little bit of difficulty finding that on a day-to-day basis. And the last category, which is my favorite to tap into whenever I'm really stressed, is the mindless distraction category. These are games where you kind of can turn your brain off and just do it, and it's just the perfect way to disconnect and just give your brain a little bit of a break. So let's get into the list. The first in the story-based category is Night in the Woods. And some of these you definitely will have heard me talk about, but I love to revisit games when I know that that story is particularly relevant to what I'm going through in the moment. So if you've played these games already, or if you've maybe heard me recommend them before and you're like, all right, I get it, I'll play it. Consider it in a different light. Maybe consider saving it for a time when you might be in a little bit of a rut, or consider replaying it again when you need it. So jumping back to Night in the Woods, this is the perfect game for this story-based list because May, the main character, is coming back from dropping out of college and is dealing with a lot of stuff that young adults have to deal with. A lot of emotions, a lot of life changes, a lot of life conflicts, figuring out who they are and what they want in life. And I really like how the game is very open with how it discusses or alludes to anxiety, depression, just general mental health struggles. And I think it's very validating, especially if you're going through it, to see that reflected in a character that you're playing in a game. I think it also handles the subject with a little bit of brevity, which is also really refreshing. You know, it's not all just like downer, like this is just such a hard thing to deal with. And, you know, if you're already in that mindset, that might not be how you want to see that experience reflected back at you, but for it to be dealt with kind of like a humorous, lighthearted way at some points, I think is a really nice way to kind of push past it on your own end as well. The next in this category is Florence, and this is a very quick story-based game, and I really like it because of how quick it is. It's like a slice of life. You go through different parts of the main character's life. I really like that it's just kind of this vignette of somebody's life, and you're seeing maybe the bad parts, the good parts, and it kind of allows you to zoom out on your own life by watching somebody else's life in a short story-like game. One of my favorite parts about engaging with story-based games is kind of the empathy you foster through either relating to an experience you've experienced before or being able to relate to a new experience that you haven't experienced before, but this person that you're playing the game as is experiencing. And I think when we're going through mental health ruts, it's kind of hard to see outside of ourselves and see outside of the struggles we're going through. So I really like connecting with empathy in that way by playing very story-based, one-person focused games like this. The next game, very similar reasoning, is Unpacking. Not only are you going through just huge life changes with this character, you are doing it in a very relaxing way. It's kind of a combination of the mindless distraction category and the story category, because you're getting this connection to the character and their life ups and downs, and you're feeling kind of that relatability, and you're also doing it in this like mindless kind of like, I'm sorting things and I'm organizing, and part of that feels almost like productive and satisfying at the same time. It's just an amazing game, and it's also one that I think you can revisit it a ton. The next on this list is A Short Hike, and this I put on this list because it offers a sense of hope. It was so emotional for me in a very unexpected way. It's not necessarily a sad game, but there's just this overwhelming feeling of hope throughout the whole game. And at the conclusion of the game and the conclusion of the story, the general feeling is just hope. And I think that's so important when you're feeling maybe like there's not a lot of hope left, or you can't really connect with that feeling of hope lately. I think this is the perfect game for that. Last in this category is Gris, which is a beautiful platformer, kind of difficult, but artistically beautiful, sonically beautiful. The music in the game is just so beautiful, and I've talked about this game a lot because of those two reasons. But this game also deals with really heavy emotional themes of grief. Again, kind of similar to Night in the Woods, if you're looking for a game that's reflecting how you're feeling in the moment and you want to feel a little bit validated in those feelings, and if that's how you process, then this is the perfect game to do that, and in such a peaceful, calm way. So those are kind of all my heavier, kind of story-based, emotional games. Moving on to the next category of responsibility and community. These are a little bit more lighthearted. The first two I'm lumping together because they're well known to the cozy gaming community, but it's Animal Crossing and Cozy Grove. I'm putting these on this list because they are real-time games. So if you don't know, that just means the time in the game is moving according to the actual time in the world. I think these games are perfect for creating a sense of like schedule, a sense of accomplishment, a sense of productivity if you are not feeling like you have any of those things and you don't have any structure and you're kind of just in this rut and you just want to stay in bed all day and you don't know what time of day it is. I've been there before, and these games are so good at kind of pulling you out of that. And even if it's this virtual world that you're showing up for, at least you're able to show up for something. And I think it not only makes you feel better, but it's also nice to be able to see kind of the fruits of that once you're developing your town and you're making accomplishments, you're getting badges and all of these things. You're seeing the direct results of you showing up every day and choosing to show up every day. And I think after a while that can kind of sink in a little bit more in your personal life, and you can apply that to yourself, and you can say, all right, today I'm ready to show up for something IRL. I'm ready to go downstairs and make myself food. Yeah, I think it's just a good way to form that habit and to do so in a way that is very low stakes, low stress. If you don't show up one day, it's fine. Your villagers are gonna be fine, but it's nice logging in and being able to say hi to your villagers, being able to upgrade your house, being able to check on the store. That changes every day. Yeah, I just think there's something really special about the, not really sense of obligation, but kind of sense of obligation to a community that those games create. And the second one is The Garden Path, which actually isn't out yet, but I was able to demo it. They had a demo for a short time. This is on the list for the same reason, because it is real time and you're creating this huge garden community and you're doing tasks for the people in the community, and it's also just a stunning game. The art in this game is amazing, and I'm not gonna talk about it too long because it's not out yet, so I don't want to get your hopes up. But when it comes out, again for the same reason, real time, kind of responsibility to community, being able to show up, but also it's aesthetically gorgeous. This is a great game to add to your wish list. The next game on this list is kind of silly, but it's Little Friends, Cats and Dogs, I believe is the full name. This is on this list because it is a responsibility to a virtual animal. I know a lot of people talk about how having an actual animal helps them when they're going through mental health ruts, because, you know, if they don't feel like they can take care of themselves, they know they have to take care of their animal, you know, like they at least care about their animal enough to like take care of them, take them on a walk, feed them. So if you don't have the luxury of having a real life animal, then having a virtual animal I think is the perfect replacement. And if you have a bunch, you know, you can get invested in their training and their daily walks and feeding them and bathing them, which is a lot easier than it is in real life. Again, I think just having that sense of responsibility to something, even if it's virtual, both makes you feel productive and then makes you feel like, okay, I can do this and I can bring a little bit of this to my outside IRL life. Or if you don't want that, that and you're like, no, I want to stay in this rut for a little bit longer, then fine, you have some adorable animals to take care of for a long time. The last in this category is 2 games in one recommendation: Wii Sports or Just Dance. These I think are obviously included because it's really good to move your body and get any form of movement when you're in a mental health rut. It's like a shot of serotonin to your brain. It's like a hack to make yourself feel just a little bit better. I know the last, like literally the last responsibility on my list of things to do is to work out or move in any kind of way when I'm in a mental health rut. Having kind of a gamified version of it, whether it's sports or dancing, just makes it so much easier and so much more appealing than just like, I'm gonna go walk on a treadmill. You know what I mean? Okay, and now for the last category of mindless distractions. The first is Big Brain Academy, and I know you're gonna say, this is not mindless. Mindless does not necessarily mean brainless, okay? Big Brain Academy is a game of a bunch of brain games. It's just a bunch of like puzzles, kind of riddles. I think there's some math in there even sometimes. And it is the perfect way to turn your emotional brain off by turning your thinking brain on, if that makes sense. One of my favorite things to do when I'm kind of stressed or in a rut is to get those like summer activity books for like whatever grade it is that I'm feeling. You know, if I'm like particularly want to turn the brain off, I'll go like 1st grade to 3rd grade, all right? And I'll just like do them, and something about it calms me down. Something about doing simple math and simple like sentence structure activities is really calming. That's kind of why I put this on the list, is that you can do little brain activities, and yeah, you have to like think a little bit to complete them, but you don't have to like worry. It's almost like hyper focusing on something that has no stakes, so that you're not focusing on the things that are like really weighing you down. And I think there's a lot of value in that, okay? Next on this list is 2 Point Hospital. This is kind of an example of any task management, like city world building management game. They are perfect mindless distractions. Like, you can really just shut the brain off and go like, okay, I'm taking care of this, I'm taking care of this, I'm taking care of this. And there's no real storyline, so there's nothing that you have to like follow. You just have to only focus on managing these things and like upgrading. And I think there's something so simple and calming about that. It's almost like you can get in this meditative trance and just not think and just manage your little campus, okay? And this is perfect for the fall because, you know, school starting, campus, you get it. The next game is Gibbon Beyond the Trees, and this is just a really beautiful game. I think I would put this in the same category as like Hoa, where it's a platformer, but it's just this beautiful art style, and you just feel so cozy and warm playing it. But you can kind of turn your brain off, because I tend to do that in platformers. If it's easy enough and I don't have to get like frustrated with it like I do with Celeste, you can kind of just turn your brain off and like go through the motions. And if you're used to platformers, you kind of know the mechanics and you don't have to think about it, and you can just move through this beautiful game. In this case, your little Gibbon swinging through trees and different nature areas, and it's just so lovely. It's lovely. Last on this list is a huge bucket of games, and it's any of the My Universe games. So there's My Universe Cats and Dogs, there's My Universe like Garden Farmer, there's My Universe My Baby, My Universe Fashion Designer, My Universe Cooking Star. Any of those, when I tell you, you don't have to have a single thought when you play those games. You just brain off, fun on, just play. Just do simple tasks. Take care of a baby, take care of some animals, run your restaurant, do some farming. It is the epitome of a mindless distraction game. And I think I would also, as an honorable mention, add in any of the point and click games that I talk about a lot because I love them, like the point and click mystery games. All of these, you just brain off. But it's so fun. It's still so fun and fulfilling, and something about just having something where you can fully immerse yourself in. Time flies. You're feeling a little bit productive because you're getting through the game, but you don't have to really think about everything that's been like swirling around your mind that's kind of keeping you in this mental health rut. That's all you need. That's all you want. And those are all of the games. The game that I'm going to include as a breaking point for your mental health rut would be Cuphead. Cuphead will break you. If you are in a perfectly fine mental state and you're like, I'm feeling like a mental health rut, play Cuphead. That's it. That's my only point. Thank you so much for watching. Again, please connect with people that you can trust and communities and your friends when you're going through a mental health threat, because honestly, that is going to help the most. Just connecting with somebody, talking with somebody, making sure they know what you're going through, feeling like you have somebody else there in the world who's looking out for you, cares for you. That is always gonna make things a little bit better. Even if your friend or something is going through the same thing, you know, you twin mental health threats, I've been there before as well. It's just knowing that somebody's there. And if you don't have that, then again, like turning to hobbies that you love and things that take your mind off of anything that you're kind of stewing on for too long, and things that keep you in the mental health threat. If you all have your favorite games to play when you're in a mental health rut, if you are looking forward to playing any of these games outside of your mental health rut, let me know in the comments. I want to hear your go-tos. I want to hear what has helped you in the past. And always know that there is a community out there for you that cares about you. You can join our Discord. We love to talk everything, and we love to provide support to all of our friends there. And yeah, you can find me on a bunch of other platforms. I love you so much. Stay cozy. Bye.